So I think what we're talking about here is the sheer waste, and not just our industry, obviously, just in general now, with face coverings. But how many of you, what face coverings are you using? Are you using reusable ones, that you can use time and time again, or those medical ones that just get thrown away, Jordana?
I use the black ones, but I supply my clients with the disposable ones. The problem is, obviously, even if we can recycle them, some of them want to use them for the rest of the day, so I can't take them from them to recycle them. But yes, there is a good point raised in one of the comments. I think it's from Lynette about the Green Salon Collective, and they are a company that can actually dispose of all of your different waste, and they'll tell you which bins to put it in. They can dispose of foils that have colour on them. They can dispose of even hair. They can recycle hair, and they can actually make combs out of hair.
Wow, that
Hair
is
clippings,
phenomenal.
which is amazing. And if you go on their website, you can partner with them. And all you have to do is invest in a couple of bins, and they will do all the hard work for you. But just being a little bit sustainable like that, I think, could really, really help. It's the small bits, that parts that we can play. And if we start doing it as salons, hopefully the local businesses will also. We
Yeah.
all have to take responsibility for it, but it's one of those things. We are in between a rock and a hard place, but if we don't act now, it could be really, really
Yeah.
astronomical, the consequences.
Maybe somebody could put that link in actually to the Green Salon Collective, and I think
Yep.
that'd be great if we can have that in the comments down. I know you're there putting comments in. George, are we as an industry being a bit too ignorant though to it? We're all very good at saying we're recycling, let's make a difference, but I still wonder, are we putting costs ahead of the actual green side of our industry?
I think things are very, very costly, aren't they, at the moment for a lot of people? Everything's gone up tenfold for plastic. People have panicked. There's nothing actually. There's no. I don't think anyone said anywhere that you can't actually use gowns, have they? As long as you've got a clean gown between clients, could you not go back to towels and gowns? I think everyone just had a panic at COVID and thought all of a sudden let's get disposable, without thinking the effects that it's going to be having on the environment.
Mm.
And I do get it, it's costly, but actually for a little bit of time and the investment in a couple of bins, because you've got to have a bin anyway when you've got a business. You've got to pay a company to take away your rubbish. So why not swap that ordinary bin to a couple of recyclable bins? Might not be any difference. And it's just a little bit more time. But if it's going to help the environment, then surely for me, I'm definitely going to look into that.
Do you
Yeah.
recycle, Giordana, at your
Yeah,
salon? So you
we
have
do.
everything
We
is
do.
separated and
Everything is separated. At the moment, we're not recycling hair, and we're not recycling any PPE. So I want to get in touch with the Green Salon Collective. I think that a couple of big product companies are starting to become a lot more sustainable at their academies, and that's how I found out about Green Salon Collective.
yeah, Lynn, it's just I have two full boxes since July recycled. They're epic. Worth every penny. Yeah, no, these guys are doing something good, and that's actually because I hear that a lot, George, from clients saying, "Is there anything you could do with all this hair? What can we do with hair?" And actually, again, I had a great interview with Sean McGrath, Wiggery, and he's in Australia, and he talked about that they actually collect hair and they use them as hairballs for the ocean, which in Australia, so basically they've stockpiled all like hundreds of thousands of hairballs because if there's an oil leak,
Yeah.
hair soaks up the oil.
Yeah.
What a fantastic thing, isn't that?
Yeah, great
So
idea. I didn't actually realise there was much you could do with hair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's on. Well,
yeah,
really,
just
really.
an incredible thing, and I know he recycles things, and I guess while we're on it, and it's a big subject, and there's probably many more times we'll sort of go into this subject, but plastics as well. From you mentioned manufacturers. When are we gonna see plastics getting less and less from manufacturers when it comes to products, George?
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think people will argue. is this not the safer option? I mean, yes, it's not safer for the environment, but is it going to make your clients feel safer? That they know that you're actually using a fresh set of something every single time. You're covering your back, you're making your client feel easier. And already at times where a lot of us are struggling, and people are fearful. You know, it's. I'm not saying it's one or the other. I think it's important that people educate themselves and they educate themselves about the environment. But you know, I think about how beautiful the world went when we were all locked down for 3 months, for 4 months. How it was amazing. I could hear birds in the morning. I noticed a huge difference, and now there's just this huge stockpile of plastic all going into the ocean and into the earth again. We've got to do something. We ought to be responsible and actively do something towards the environment.
Well, I'm always going to come back to this because I think it's all about supply and demand. If we, as hairdressers, demand from our suppliers that they package things differently, that they give us higher volumes of things rather than small quantities of things for professional usage. And if we demand that change, it will happen because then they'll have to provide and they have to supply. So it all starts with us. And as much as we don't feel that powerful because we're not a huge company, we're not, the big brands that produce and manufacture all of it, it does start from us. It's about the conversation. It's about, starting that trend and that trend picking up. And it's just supply and demand. We have to get on board.
It's like the gowns. I know the guys at Scrummy, I think they do biodegradable gowns. But it's like everything, it's so expensive in comparison. And I still think when profits are hard, and you're trying to keep things realistic, hairdressers thinking, look, I've just got to go down. Yeah, is it putting my business first before the green side of it? Are we taking that slightly, selfish attitude?
I mean, I spoke to a hairdresser last week who had a terrible week and they only took £350 for the entire week. Now, you tell me on 350 quid, how on earth can you afford biodegradable? How on earth can you afford to pay your rent? It is all about survival, unfortunately, but I'm not, as the country heals, as we get more used to this, then I definitely think there's no harm in educating ourselves. And I think, as an industry, we do so well at the industry stuff that we do and the work that we put in. There's no reason why we couldn't do really well at changing the environment together and making sure it's more sustainable and biodegradable at something that's cost effective at the same time.
Yeah.
I just want to.
You still can just wash the gowns
But isn't there an issue with washing gowns? The electricity, the water usage, the pollution of water. People say like washing gowns is great, and I know my interview with the guys at Scrummy, Rob. He talks of the reason why they're encouraging biodegradable towels is because washing is so damaging for the environment as well. So there isn't actually.
But if you have a cold wash and I don't know.
But you can't do a cold wash right now.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Yeah.
60 degrees, isn't it? Is that it's this whole balancing act, isn't it? We're all trying to do the right thing, but the problem is trying to do the right thing is extremely expensive for salons when things are really pushed right now, and this is a problem. I'm seeing we don't want to ruin our planet, and absolutely not. But equally, you want to keep a roof over your head, you want to keep your profits tidy, you want to keep clients happy. It's a real difficult situation, but it is something we are going to have to work out as an industry because we all have a part to play. And quite frankly, this COVID is about, but the planet for me is more the worry than actually COVID, because the damage that's coming from this, and I've got huge improvements to make. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it has to be happen. And so, Kels, I'd love to see refills of shampoos, products. Why aren't we using refill stations? Why isn't this happening?
Be doing that.
We could all do that simply ourselves, couldn't we?
Actually, all of our shampoo could go plastic free effectively, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could have effectively, you could have styling a refuel station in your salons, couldn't you? Literally big, I don't know, but you'd have big containers. People bring in their bottle, whatever they bring in. I'd like to top up on my shampoo, and I don't know. It seems such a simple thing, and I look at all these beautiful packaging, but all I see is plastic. It's not good.
I think, I think an element of that though might be, when somebody buys a product, they get that feeling of luxury, don't they? Really feel like, when they buy your products, and you can go to supermarket, you can buy a crappy shampoo or whatever, but then you ask somebody to spend 60 quid on shampoo and conditioner with you, would they feel like it's worth 25, 26 quid if they fetch their own plastic bottle to fill it up? I agree with what you're saying, Dom, but I'm just talking about on a consumer basis. And when people buy shit, they want it nicely wrapped, they want it in a nice bag, and they want to feel like they've got their money worth.
We're so caught up in ourselves. Really.
Yeah,
It is all about everything about how everything looks for ourselves. And everything's cheaper now. Let's get things cheaper. And it's just, that's the problem. We want everything. Our demand is our problem.
You could track those clients in and say, look, if you bring back your bottle, I will refill it for you and take away the cost of that bottle, which is, let's say, £2. So I'll give you it for £2 cheaper. So you're attracting them, you're giving them a bit of a bargain, and you're actually stopping them from buying it from websites like Look Fantastic, because that's what we all struggle with.
Gonna say,
we struggle from like Amazon and competing with, Look Fantastic.
That is the way that you will compete against Amazon. They cannot do that. Get people back in your environment. You can even sell your own branded recyclable bottles. Cabela recyclable bottles, and it can't be hard to have one bottle that can do the pump, one for oils, and one that can do the wax, and it doesn't have to. And how cool's that? Let people take out their own, because you've got it with like places now with rice and pasta. You can get refills in shops. We should be doing this as an industry right now.